Greetings and Merry Christmas. I am Tabin of A Mind Transformed. This is Manna for your journey. So let's say that you live in a mansion. You have everything you need, everything you could ever want. Servants at your beck and call. If you desire anything at all, it is but a simple wave of your hands and you have it. You live in the most expensive bed, the most expensive mattress. You have a gazillion count sheets or whatever you desire. Pillows from whatever material you want. Whatever you need, whenever you need it, is instantly brought to you. You don't lack for anything. Not a day goes by where you feel any physical pain. You don't feel depression, anxiety. No one is seeking to harm you. Everyone wants your best interest. They serve you willingly and lovingly, and they're ready to do whatever you need to ensure that you're comfortable, that you have peace, that you have joy. Would be an amazing scene if we could have that. But then let's say that you have 8 children and you hear that your children are struggling. And you realize that the only way that they could potentially get over their issues, they could potentially have a better life, is for you to give up the life that you have. So you move out of that mansion and you move to the worst house in the worst neighborhood, in the worst city in the world. The house is dilapidated and broken down. No heat or AC. None of the comforts you have. You gave up all the servants. Matter of fact, you gave up your lap of luxury to the point that now you'll get hungry and you'll look around and there's no one to bring you food. You'll get tired. You'll feel pain. You may get anxious. Would you do it for your children? Oh, wait, there's one more catch. And you have to live in this house, in this neighborhood, in this city for the next 33 and a half years. Oh, and there's another catch on top of that. Instead of you having servants serve you, you are now the servant. You are going to serve others in whatever they need you to do, no matter how much it costs and no matter how hard it is. Oh, and in that house, that mansion, you didn't have to work, but now you actually have to get a job and you're going to work with your hands in hot conditions. You're not going to have AC. It's going to be hot. You're going to work with your hands. By the sweat of your brow, you're going to produce things. Oh, and then when you go try to go help other people, they're going to talk about how you helped them. You're going to be despised. People are going to berate you because they're going to think the help that you tried to give them was not what they needed, nor did it come in the manner that they wanted. They're going to talk about you. Oh, and then you're going to get on their nerves so bad that at times they're actually going to seek to kill you. There's places that you won't even be able to go. There are going to be people that exist solely to try to undermine everything you do for 33 and a half years to make your life miserable. Would you do that for your children? Do you love them enough to even make that sacrifice? That's exactly what Jesus did for us. See, the Bible tells us that Jesus was born through Mary, and that was true. But he wasn't born in a sense like he came into being when he came through Mary. John chapter 1, verse 2 tells us that Jesus was in the beginning with God. As long as there's been God, there's been Jesus. And everything was created through him. John chapter 1 goes on to tell us. So Jesus has existed forever. And he's existed in heaven. He's visited the earth. We see that in Daniel, in the book of Daniel. He's with the 3 Hebrew boys in the fire. He's visited the earth. But even after that short visitation, he's always gone back to heaven. But yet he diminished himself. He stripped off his glory. He contained himself in human flesh, a body that was going to get tired, a body that was going to get weak, a body that was going to get thirsty, a body that would require sleep, a body that could feel physical pain. And he diminished and trapped himself in human flesh for 33 and a half years because we needed it. Because without it, we couldn't have got over the hump. Because without it, we would have never overcome our sin problem or our sin condition. Without it, we wouldn't have the opportunity and the chance to draw as close to God as we do now. There would have still been a veil, a separation between us and God. If we weren't high priests, we would have only been able to get but so close without his sacrifice. See, the Christmas story would be a lot different if Jesus just had to do that for a year or two. If one day he just showed up and he walked right out of the woods and he started public ministry. But no, he came through a woman. He lived as we did. He grew up. He subjected himself to people who he was king, but he subjected himself to them. He let other people rule over him and tell him what to do for 33 and a half years. That's the sacrifice of Christmas. Even knowing full well that this day would come, that the world would traditionally say it was the day of birth, is why we would have it in the first place, but we would give all the credit to a made up man named Santa Claus. We send our children to hug Santa Claus at the mall. We tell our children about Santa Claus without thinking twice about it whatsoever, but wouldn't tell them about Jesus. And yet he did it anyway. Even though someone else was going to get the credit on the day that he was supposed to be recognized as starting the single greatest sacrifice in human history. And he did it anyway. Do you love your children enough that you would make that sacrifice for them, knowing full well that the majority of them wouldn't even recognize your sacrifice, wouldn't even care about it, and they would openly use a day that was supposed to be recognized for you to enrich themselves or give gifts, go into debt over? Would you make that sacrifice? Well, I am Taven of a Mind Transformed, just to remind you of the sacrifice of Christmas and the awesome and mighty God we serve. Be blessed.